All right, welcome back. 4:23 in the afternoon. Thomas Van Flein is my guest via the telephone, legal counsel to the governor. Tom, I had a question here from, let's see here, where did I have that at? It's here on my BlackBerry. Question for the counselor: why does it take longer to dismiss some ethics complaints when others are dismissed quicker?
It's a fair question. Since I'm not the hired investigator, I'm obviously representing the governor in these. I have an educated guess. The educated guess is this: some investigators may require a gathering of evidence, so they can then compare what they have as a factual basis and compare that to the law. For example, that's what happened during Troopergate when we self-disclosed there and asked for an attorney general investigation or through the personnel board, and there was a lot of evidence that was taken. Depositions, emails were reviewed. So you put the whole package together, you look at it, and you decide, is there probable cause of an ethics violation? Others, you don't, on the face of it, may not require such a factually intensive investigation, and it's more like a summary judgment if you're familiar with civil litigation,
Sure.
where you can look at the pleadings or the allegation or the charge and say, well, just on the face of it, this doesn't assert, even if it was true, this doesn't assert a cognizable violation of the Ethics Act.
We're seeing a lot of that because the word frivolous, I think they're an embarrassment to the states. Lawsuits are being claimed here by people such as Andre McLeod, Sandra Tompkins, there's a gentleman, what's his name, Shane, whatever. The second question, Counselor, is how do you respond to people that say Governor Palin filed an ethics complaint against herself?
They misunderstand the process. That's how the media characterized it.
Right.
Really what it was a self-disclosure. As you know, for a good month before that, there were allegations being made publicly by Mr. Monaghan and then repeated by the media that the governor had acted unethically.
Well, just to catch people up on it, there was an ethics complaint filed by charges against the governor, and the governor thought that the personnel board was the correct venue, and therefore filed an ethics complaint there, or whatever you wish to call it. How's that?
Well, sort of, although I disagree with that slightly.
Okay.
And the reason I disagree with is this. What the Legislative Council was doing was not, in my opinion, an Ethics Act investigation. It was a political investigation.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And for political purposes.
Right.
And that's why they called it, quote, abusive process. Abusive process is not defined in any statute or regulation in the state of Alaska. So it's like...
It was a political witch hunt.
Well, yeah, and you can give it the same definition that Justice Hugo Black gave to obscenity, and that is, I know it when I see it.
Exactly.
So it has no standard, and it's just in the opinion of the legislators who may not like her policies. Fine. What we knew back then was there is a proper jurisdictional forum for ethics complaints, and that is the Personnel Board, and we brought it to them. And they did their job, and they investigated it. And as you can see, when you compare what Mr. Patuminis did last fall with how the council and Mr. Brandflower handled it, it was night and day difference. One was looking at the law and the facts and applying it objectively, and the other had, in my opinion, a preordained result.
People have also said, when we talk about these ethics complaints and the money that's being, I don't know, it could be up in excess of $3 million that the state has spent now on the FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act and all. What do you say, what is the response to, well, the governor did that, and she's added to the cost of these also by having the Personnel Board look into that matter?
Well, there's no question that, again, we didn't file an Ethics Act complaint against ourselves.
Right.
What it was is it's called a self-disclosure or a disclosure.
Self-disclosure.
And so when that's been done, when you've been accused of wrongdoing, you want to clear your name and get to the bottom of it, and that's what we did. Did that cost the state money? Yes. But it was not the governor who brought that on herself. It was Mr. Monaghan's allegations. It wasn't the governor going around saying these things. What the governor said was, we're going to get this resolved, and we're going to get it resolved where it's appropriate and lawful.
And
did that cost money? Yes, it did. And it cost more money than it needed to be because of what happened last fall.
And because there was a political witch hunt going on, in my opinion, I think a lot of people's opinion, that was going on, and therefore that was the only avenue in which the governor could truly defend herself.
At least the only fair avenue, absolutely.
Right.
And because the legislative, political branch is not a fair tribunal by any manner, and the media certainly wasn't being fair to the governor. So you had to go to a body that has no vested interest except applying the law fairly and consistently with their other rulings.
Well, she's asked permission, so to speak, for this book deal. It seems like she's complied with everything, of course. That's out of the way. Do you see future? What do you see? Can you expect any more ethics complaints coming from this book deal, even though we've already been to the Department of Law?
Well, based on what some of the people who are adamant and vocal critics of her, they've all but promised to file ethics complaints. I think they're all going to be dismissed, and probably without much effort on our part. Because this has been reviewed, and the terms of it have been reviewed closely and studied closely.
Right.
And unfortunately, in this type of a political climate, the governor's probably going to have to more and more, run things by the Department of Law just to deal with her critics like this.
Yeah. I think you said it well the other day. It's more of a disagreement than it is ethics complaints.
Policy disagreements.
Yep.
And politics, not ethics issues.
Yeah. Counselor, thank you so much, as usual, for coming on today, and appreciate your clearing these issues up and explaining to us the facts of the cases. Again, thank you so much. Thomas Van Flein, legal counsel to the governor.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You bet. All right, we'll be right back, folks, with your calls, concerns, 274-5297. If you missed it, we just heard from Bristol Palin, graduating from Wasilla High School today.